Sakakibara, 10 times World Cup winner, 2-time World Cup champion as well in 2023, 2024, dual Olympian, 2024 Cyclist of the Year as well, and of course, winning the gold medal at the Paris Olympics. The emotions that you would have felt when you crossed that finish line and you smashed that title race, the gold medal race. How did that feel?
The things that made me the happiest was to hear a lot of people know about BMX. And I asked them, like, have you seen BMX before? They're like, no, but I loved your story and I watched it and I cried or whatever it is. And it's just like, wow, I was so scared of racing. I would watch racing and I'll kind of imagine myself lining up on the gate with them and being like, I don't want to do this.
Do you think the fear is helpful or do you think it's bad?
I think fear has...
What do you think is the top 1% defining character trait in why you have won gold medal?
I think...
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We were having a laugh off air, guys, because I for some reason get the A and the I's mixed up and my brain couldn't comprehend it. So I asked her if it was right and she's like, no, that's wrong. So
I've heard worse. One of the worst ones was literally at an Australian, race. They should know who I am and my name. And then they were calling me Sakakibara.
Sakakibara. I think I'm just trying to do an Australian version of it, I reckon, the kookaburra.
Yeah, that's probably why I like kookaburras, but
I think so.
Yeah, Sakakibara is probably the worst one.
Okay, all right. Well, at least I didn't go that far, but we nailed it on the way in. So, look, I'm absolutely pumped to obviously interview you today. There's twofold reasons for it. You're our first female guest on the Top 1% podcast, which I'm absolutely pumped about. And you're also our first Olympic gold medalist, which is obviously crazy, the absolute epitome of sport to win that as well. So I'm absolutely pumped to dive in today. And thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I want to run in a little bit of a rap sheet because when I was building this together and putting it together, it was kind of blowing me away the amount of, titles and everything you've won as well. And all by the age of 25 as well. So you're a 10 times World Cup winner, third most females to ever win that as well, like third highest ranked female to ever win that as well. 2-time World Cup champion as well in 2023, 2024, dual Olympian, 2024 Cyclist of the Year as well. And of course, winning the gold medal at the Paris Olympics as well, which is an absolute monster and a monster feat. That's a pretty crazy rap sheet, to kind of achieve that as well by 25 too, right? So like it's a huge amount of obviously victories and titles. Like how does that feel, even kind of hearing that and what you've done to date?
It feels pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like it's something that I've always wanted to do and I've always wanted to be a champion. And to have something like that as my bio, that's actually what I've achieved. Mm-hmm. It's something I never would have. You believe that you can, but then you don't fully believe until you actually do it.
Until you win something, yeah.
So then, it's pretty cool to be in this position now to have won all those races.
Yeah.
Have, influenced a lot of people as well in my journey. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's cool. It's surreal. I'm still kind of adjusting to this life.
To the life, yeah. Because what it would have been about 6 months ago that you would have won the gold as well, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
How's it been since the transition?
Oh, I think the first, couple months was hectic. I think for me, any life-changing event, whether it's good, whether it's bad, is still take time to adjust. And everyone's asking me how I feel. And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's good. I feel crazy. I don't know what's happening. And it was such an emotional event, the Paris Games, all up into it. And then also the last 4 years have been pretty crazy in terms of the challenges that I've overcome as well. So, now looking back, I just wish I took it all in a bit more. It was quite a lot, lots of media. I'm flying everywhere around the world, doing all these, awards nights and things like that I've never had. I've been, talking to all these people I've never really had the opportunity to. And I realized that a lot of people know about BMX now, which was probably one of the biggest, things, or the happiest things that made the things that made me the happiest was to hear a lot of people know about BMX. They've seen it and they saw me win.
Since the win, yeah?
Yeah, they saw me win at the games. And I asked them, like, have you seen BMX before? They're like, no, but I loved your story and I watched it and I cried or whatever it is. And it's just like, wow, like the impact of sport and the impact of the Olympics and the impact of sharing a story. it's huge.
Yeah, for sure. I could only imagine the amount of the younger generation, even like, kids coming through. I know you started very, very young, but like kids coming through that maybe had never thought of BMX as a sport as well, especially probably young girls getting out there and starting. Have you had any feedback around that side of things of girls, getting out there and starting it now and having a crack?
I haven't heard the ones that had a crack,
Okay.
but I heard one that I've pulled out of retirement.
Okay.
I think she retired at the age of 12 or
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then watching me win, she's picked up the bike again,
Okay.
and she started racing, and she met me at the national championships, and she told me the story, and I'm like, this is why I do it as well. Like, it's not just about winning and trying to achieve my dreams. It's also about sharing the story and inspiring the next generation to pick up the bike or try hard at anything else.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. You said before around as well. You said earlier too, around like the emotion that kind of came through it and everything. If you don't mind me asking, like the emotions that you would have felt when you crossed that finish line, and you were a long way in front too. Like you smashed that title race, the gold medal race. How did that feel?
It was probably the biggest one was relief.
Relief over
Yeah.
elation.
Relief, because I came into it ranked number 1.
Mhm.
I had the fastest laps around the whole of the 2 days. I knew I could win, and the only thing that was stopping me was if I was to hesitate or not commit for some reason, or let those negative thoughts control me. And I've had that experience where I let those negative emotions control me and not do my 100% best. So to have that much pressure on me, that it's this Olympic final, everyone's watching me. I have, this is my race to win, and to have pulled it off, that was the biggest relief.
Biggest relief. That makes sense, because I swear like the whole nation tuned in for that. Like that race, I feel like everyone was watching it that night,
Yeah.
or that morning, I think it was.
It was really
here.
early in the morning.
Yeah.
And when people told me that they watched it live, I'm like, really? You watched BMX at 5 a.m.? Like, you didn't have anything else better to do? But yeah, I think Channel 9 did an amazing job with profiling me and my story. So a lot of people tuned into that story. And I think, when I crossed that finish line and, got all those lovely messages after, I was like, this is really cool.
Mhm.
This is cool that people watched me and followed my story and resonated with my story. And they also, saw BMX and how cool it was.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. No, that's cool. That's cool. One other thing with that as well is the famous speech that came off the back of it, and I think that was really the most talked about thing. It was almost as famous as the multiple, however far in front you were on that finish line as well. The speech almost became more famous, or the interview.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk us through that? Like, what was the feelings with that?
It was like,
That's gonna get out as like one of the most famous speeches, I reckon, in Australian sporting history.
I didn't know it was live. I'm just gonna say I didn't know it was live.
Yeah.
It was after I crossed the finish line, and then I did like a celebration with the Australian flag on the last straight, waved to the crowd, came back. I'm just thinking, is this even real? And then Channel 9's asking me questions, and that was just me.
Straight from the heart.
That was straight from the heart.
Yeah.
There was no filter. It was such an emotional day. I didn't know what was going on. And we go through so much stuff as an athlete. We have to overcome so much. And sometimes those swear words just come out, and I use those swear words to get myself in that right place that I need to be in the mindset to deliver what I need to deliver. So that was what I said.
I think you delivered it pretty well. There's a lot of people, I think, had a lot of buy-in after that as well, because you could tell, it was straight from the heart. It was very emotional. I think for both people, obviously, like for yourself, everyone could tell, but I think everyone like really bought in from that side as well, because I could tell, how much it obviously meant to you from there too. So, no, it was amazing. Look, I just wanted to kind of open up with a couple of those things, because it was crazy to sort of see and amazing to to witness that, and you come through and have that big win and such a famous interview as well.
Yeah. To be honest, after it, I was also thinking, I wish I didn't swear. and I wish I said something cooler or something like that. But I was like, you know what? That's just what I was thinking, and that was what was playing in my head, literally to the moment the gate dropped.
Yeah.
Because you need to have something, otherwise, I was not going to let any other thought enter my head other than just fucking go.
Just go.
So that was all I did.
Yeah.
And I think it was part of kind of reprogramming the mind to do what you want it to do.
Yeah, 100%. I think the cool thing is it was so unscripted and so raw. Like it was a genuine look inside a gold medalist, you know what I mean? A champion, and exactly what you were thinking off the back of it. So it's, yeah, I don't think there was, like you say about a cool speech. Like I don't know. I don't think there's anything more cool than someone delivering exactly what's from the heart. There's just one, the epitome of their code, right? So no, it was cool. It was cool.
That's so fair. No, it's fair because I think what the general public resonates with athletes is stories and emotion.
Yeah.
Because they don't resonate with what we can do. They don't connect with what I can do on the bike and how fast I go, because they can't do that. But they do connect with, the feelings of resilience or the overcoming things, the emotion and the story. And I think now I realize it's part of being an athlete. You have to share those things in the human side, because that's how you inspire people.
Very well said. I love it. I love it. Well, congratulations on everything you've done to date, and it makes so much sense, why you're killing it now, and obviously, getting asked on so many different things as well. And from the media side, there's a raw side that comes out straight after the race, and then you're very polished outside of it too, in a very good way too. So it's it's really cool. I'm excited to dive into this. Should we get going?
Yeah, let's go. I thought we already started.
Well, I always like to wind all the way back to the start. And I always like to hear the backstory, because so often that resilience piece you talk about, and everything that kind of shapes high performers, I always find it almost always stems from a childhood of whatever the reason is. But I really want to kind of go back to the very start from a childhood perspective for yourself, and what you think kind of, I guess, drove you into the, remarkable athlete that you are today.
I think the biggest influence I had was my older brother, Kai. So he was the one that first came into BMX and loved riding his bike, loved the competition, loved the speed, everything like that. So he started when he was, 3 years old. And then I got my first bike at around 4 years old, because my parents were taking Kai around all around the country to get him on BMX tracks, and he wanted to ride. That's all he wanted to do. So rather than me playing in the dirt at the trackside, they were like, let's just give her a bike to see how it goes. And I didn't have a choice. So yeah, it was just always Kai and I racing bikes around Japan at the start, because I was born in Australia, but I grew up in Japan for about 6 years.
Yeah, right.
When I was 7, we moved back to Sydney, and that's when I started BMX in Japan. Yeah. And when we moved to Sydney, the amount of BMX tracks around Sydney itself was just like mind blowing to us.
Really?
Yeah, because in Japan, there was only about 200 riders in the whole of the country. Yeah. Compared to Australia, it was over 15,000.
Wow.
So, there was only maybe 5 or 6 tracks in Japan, the whole of Japan. Yeah. And then in Sydney, there's 5 or 6 tracks within, an hour. Yeah, 2 hours from each other. So it's just like, this is BMX heaven, right. But I think the biggest influence was following Kai. Yeah. And he always pushed me to, try new jumps. And as a BMX rider, you need to develop your skills quite early, when you're just starting out. You can't develop skills when you're
an adult,
16, right. You can, but it's much, much harder. Yeah. So I think my brother pushing me to be like, jump that jump today. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. It's too scary. And like, you can. So him pushing me really made me progress in the sport. Yeah. And my dad was also quite hard on me too.
Okay.
So I think he just wanted to see me do my very best, and he could see that I had a little bit of talent in BMX. So he's like, "Well, you can do this jump, and you can, you know, you can do this jump. You can go faster. You can do this." So he was always pushing me, even though I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I've never been someone who's always been fearless or driven.
You don't think you were? No?
I don't think I was a fearless girl.
Okay.
I've always had to work hard
Really?
and push through the pushback or the fear from such a young age. Trying a new jump was probably something I had to do almost every week. And then even if I'd done that new jump, the next week I'll probably have to go through the same emotions to do it again. And then won't do it. And then I'll take a few steps backwards, and then I'll build up the courage again and I'll do it. And it was always just like a back and forth to, progress in the sport of BMX, which has always been hard. And I think that's how just doing that from such a young age gave me that practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's awesome. How often, at what age do you think you stopped having the fear, or has the fear always remained, or are you at the level now that it's not there? Like, what age did it start to peter off? Because obviously if you started at 4, you said 4, you got your first bike and you were racing around.
Yeah.
How long were you still battling that fear piece, as you went through?
I think it never goes away.
No?
Yeah, it never goes away. And I think that, which is annoying. I wish it went away. But because I still feel it now. I still go to the track and I see this big jump that I need to do to win. I need to jump this because it's the fastest way. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm scared. And I have to go through the same emotions, go through the same process to build up the courage to do it. So it never goes away. But then I was looking back at some, old videos from when I was 17, 18, 19, mainly 16, 17. I think there was a period of time where I didn't feel fear.
Yeah, right.
Because the way that I was riding, I'm like, how? How did I hit those big jumps? How did I not care about who was next to me on the gate and just, believed in myself? Because I look at those videos and I'm like, how did you do that? But I think there was like a period of time where I had not a lot of fear.
Okay.
Then I had a few consecutive rounds of crashes. That's probably when I started to doubt myself, and kind of that fear also festered.
Came back
again, and it's here to stay.
Do you think the fear is helpful, or do you think it's bad? Like, do you think it's helpful in the essence of or in the sense that it allows you to be maybe a little bit more controlled, to not have the big crashes as well? Or do you think the fearlessness, if you were that little bit more fearless, you'd be able to go quicker, but I guess you'd have more accidents, right? You'd have more crashes.
Yeah, you're right. I think fear has slowed me down, but also propelled me forward.
Okay.
Fear has slowed me down because, it takes me longer to build up the courage to do that jump.
Yep.
Or I have moments where I don't commit and I hesitate, and then I put myself in danger by doing that. But fear has propelled me forward, because without the fear, I wouldn't have been more intentional with the process and really calculated with what I'm doing. So when I'm actually going to do it, I've thought about it, overthought about it, and I've come up with a plan to get over it. And then most of the time, it's helped me. So
you can execute execute at a super high level without stacking it effectively.
Yeah. It's a hard balance, I think, but I hated that I was so scared. There's been moments where I hated that I was so scared, but then there's been moments where, because I was so scared, I pushed myself more and then got more out of myself. So I think in that sense, I was really grateful that I was scared, And fear, I feel like now it's never going to go away. There's always going to be fear. It's this thing there. I'm like, I've conquered it. I've done it. And that I did feel that at the games. When I was at the top of the start hill for the final, I didn't feel any fear for the first time.
Really?
For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel fear about racing, and I was just there, super calm, not even nervous.
Why do you think there was no fear?
I think it's because I had done absolutely everything I could to get there. This was the last thing. This is the thing that I trained for, and everything just went according to plan up until this point, and I just almost could see the future. So I just felt no fear.
You said that in your speech as well, hey? Like you could, sorry, your interview. You said that. I remember you saying that after, like you just feel like you knew it was going to happen. You had that almost like the confidence, right?
Mm, yeah,
That's crazy.
it is crazy, and and the way that I felt then, and then now I'm at the track now, fearing still. I'm just like, where did it go? This confidence.
Do you think it was the adrenaline?
I think it's a bit of just a mix of everything.
Yeah.
The fact that, the 4 years or the 3 years, whatever, from Tokyo to this point, everything I went through, all the mental preparations that I did, all the physical preparation I did, everything just came together in this one moment.
Mhm.
And I just knew, I just had it. It was just this feeling of, this flow state. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I just knew this was where I needed to be. I know what I'm doing. I know what's going to happen next.
That's mad. That's unreal. Hey, what a crazy story though. Especially like that you still feel it, but then on that track, on the race that you probably should have been the most nervous for, you were just so confident that you were gonna smash it.
When you think about that though, like if you're feeling nervous about something, then you're doubting yourself, right?
Yep.
A little bit.
And you potentially haven't prepared enough if you've got the fear.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I've had many moments where I was super nervous and I was super scared, but still won. So I don't know what the secret cocktail of what you're supposed to feel, because I've experienced both. I've experienced not believing yourself and then winning, and then believing yourself and winning. So I'm still yet to figure it out.
That's unreal. Well, I love that. Hey, it's cool. I think something that I find really cool, I guess, about how raw you are, like how real you are with this, is like it's not like you're just, oh yeah, I'm a beast. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel any fear. It's like you're in an adrenaline sport. You know what I mean? You're in a high velocity sport, and yet you still feel fear, and you're the world champion. You know, sorry, you're the gold medalist. You know what I mean? Like you're the best in the world.
Yeah.
And yet you still have that fear come in. And I think that's really telling for the fact of where you are and what you've achieved, that you still feel that, and then other people in everyday life or trying to do something or do some venture or whatever it is, or wherever they are trying to go to another level, they'll feel the fear and tap out because of it. When in reality, fear's part of all of it. Like it doesn't matter what level you're at. I think the fear will always come in, and it's good in a way. And I think it's probably extremely rare, like you were saying with you, to have that in that moment. It was just like everything came together. You just knew you were going to do it. But it's natural, right? The rest of the time to have it. And it's almost like something to be embraced. Again, like you said, you got better at being more calculative with each race that you had, and you figured it out. Okay, well, I have to hit this because it's the fastest, even though it's the scariest thing to do. I've got to do it. So how do I prepare for it?
Yeah.
And there's the old saying, right? Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. And so like you putting that preparation in and then knowing what was coming at you, and how to combat it, even though you were shit scared, it obviously proven in the results, right? That you've shown and achieved.
Exactly. I think what you would find in the top 1% is that, everyone feels fear. Everyone has those self-deprecating thoughts saying, don't do this. You're not good enough. You're probably going to crash, or you're probably going to fail. Everyone has those thoughts. It's not like the top 1% doesn't have them. They do it despite of them. And I realized this not long ago, actually, when I was really struggling with fear. It was a windy day at a BMX track not long ago, maybe 2 months ago.
This is training.
I'm, kind of coming back into training after a bit of a break after the games, and it was windy and I'm scared of doing this big jump. And I was just beating myself up because I was scared. I was like, why am I scared? I'm the freaking Olympic champion. I should not be scared. And I was being really mean to myself by saying that. But then, I don't know, then I realized because I'm scared and I still do the thing is why I'm Olympic champion. And, that was like, So then that changed my energy, and then I kind of brought myself back up to the start hill, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I did it.
Mhm.
It wasn't the best. It wasn't the most cleanest looking jump, but I'm like, I still did it. And I think that's what made me realize is it's because I do it even though I felt like I didn't want to.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I
Mm.
love that. You said earlier as well, like off air, that you have a mindset coach as well, right?
Mm.
How much do you think that's improved? How long have you had a mindset coach for, and how much do you think that's improved your performance and your management of these fears as well? Because that's like a very,
Mm.
sorry to cut you there, but that's like a very pragmatic and intelligent way to look at something like that. You know what I mean? Like most people would get in their own heads and talk themselves out of it.
Mm.
But you're like, no, this is why I'm the Olympic gold medalist, is
Yeah.
because even though I'm scared of it, I still do it and still do it to a
Mm.
good level.
My mindset coach, I think, just saved me. I started working with him in 2023,
Okay.
and I started working with him because I was desperate for answers to get over this fear. I was so scared of racing. I would watch racing on no, the girls that I compete with, and I'll kind of imagine myself lining up on the gate with them and be like, I don't want to do this. Just watching a video scared the crap out of me. And I was like, okay, the season's going to start in a few months and I'm still scared to line up on the gate with these girls. How am I going to do this safely? Because I'm scared of crashing.
Mhm.
That's probably the biggest thing. I'm scared.
Do you think this came from obviously your the crashing out in Tokyo, but then also what happened with Kai as well?
I think yes,
Okay.
both those things. Should I say a bit of the context with Kai's?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please, yeah.
So in 2020, Kai had a huge accident. It was one of the last qualifying races to go to Tokyo, and it was in Bathurst. And yeah, long story short, he had a major accident, hit his head really badly, and then had a traumatic brain injury. He was in a coma for 6 weeks, lost 25 kilos of his body weight, had to learn how to talk, walk, everything, start from scratch. Um, I think that was probably at the time, it didn't affect me at all in the way that what had happened to Kai. But now I think it's kind of planted a seed of what could actually happen in BMX, and it's literally living under my roof. So it was
Hmm.
probably a thing that also played a part in that development of fear that I had in the last that kind of festered from maybe 2021 as well,
Mhm.
because in 2021 I crashed at the Tokyo Olympic Games and had my own concussion there, and the recovery from the concussion was probably the hardest thing because I've never experienced so much. The symptoms of concussions go on for longer than 2 weeks. Usually you will have the headaches and the dizziness and whatever it is, and then it'll kind of go away within 14 days. But this time it was lingering around for about 3 months.
This is after the 2021 Tokyo, like when you
Yes.
crashed out.
Yeah.
Had the accident. Yeah, you crashed.
So having those, not having answers, no one could tell me why. They were telling me to rest. And I'm like, I've been resting for 2 months.
And you're still not feeling
Yeah.
good.
It was, definitely a really hard thing to go through. And then, started, it just started me fearing racing.
Yeah.
Because now I'm thinking if I crash, I'm going to hit my head. And if I hit my head, then I'm going to, have these symptoms or worse, end up like Kai. So it was probably something that was playing in the back of my head. And the worst thing about BMX is, I don't know if it's the worst thing, but the hardest thing
Mhm.
about BMX is that there's no lanes. You're at the top of the 8-meter start hill.
Yeah.
You go from 0 to 55 kilometers per hour in 2.5 seconds. Okay.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah. There are no lanes
Yeah.
on the hill. So you can go left, right, straight, wherever you want to go. And then at the bottom of the hill, you hit a 10 to 12 meter jump that
Yeah.
you most likely have to jump. So I think when you're lined up on the gate the distance between your handlebar, the end of your handlebar, and then the girl next to you, it's probably like 3 centimeters.
Yeah, right.
So
Is it that tight?
it's so tight.
Hectic. And then you
It's
all just go bombing down the hill together.
Yep.
Hectic.
So that's pretty scary. And the scariest part, the thing that still scares me, is being locked up with someone. If you were to hit the handlebar, something kind of, you can't get away from each other, and then you hit that jump, and then you just have absolutely no control and you just crash.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me before. That's happened to many people. It's scary.
Yeah.
I'm scared, And the biggest thing about that is that you can't be hesitant. If you're hesitant, then you're most likely putting yourself even more in danger, because you might be even further back, or you're not in a good body position to kind of adapt if you have like a bit of a knock. So when it's like the scariest thing is like you want to pull the brakes, but the safest thing to do is just to go as hard as you can. and yeah, that's the thing that I had to overcome. But I forget what we were on about.
I think we're talking about the mindset piece and like how the coach like kind of helped you overcome that side as well.
Yeah, so I was really scared about that.
Mm-hmm.
And chatting with my mindset coach really helped me kind of, probably the biggest thing was I knew that I had the physical abilities to be fast and win races. I knew that it was my mental that was holding me back. And he helped me really believe in myself again by changing those beliefs that I had that kind of rooted my fear, which was that every time I get on the track, I crash. Every time I crash, I hit my head. Racing equals bad. Racing equals disaster. Those beliefs took time to develop, multiple, experiences that I had. So it was going to take time to reprogram them back to racing equals fun. Racing equals win. The first time he told me that in 2023, racing equals smile, racing equals fun, I'm like, no. Racing does not equal smile. I don't believe you. No, that's not me. It's fine. It's fine if BMX isn't fun. I don't care. I just want to do it to the best of my ability and not crash. I don't care if it's not fun. That's not the goal. Which was fine. But what was crazy was at the games, I felt that for the first time. Racing equals fun. It was so fun.
Hectic.
It felt effortless. It felt easy. Everything just flowed.
And you won every single race, so
yeah,
you didn't drop anything in that whole gold medal, the whole Olympic run.
So I found that really interesting, how I didn't believe him, and then it ended up happening. And that was just that one day or that week.
Yep.
It's sometimes I go to the BMX track now, I'm like, this is not fun. I don't like this. I want to go home.
How long did it take for him to rewire you, do you think? Like to not to be at the absolute peak of obviously that week, but to rewire you to actually start enjoying it again?
That was the first time I
felt
it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's like a year.
Year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hectic.
But I won races before that. I won 9 World Cup finals out of 12.
Mm-hmm.
No, out of 15, sorry. And I was, every one of them, I was shit scared. I was on the track. I was on the gate. I had so much fear that I was going to crash or stuff up or something. But I had an even louder voice to be like, no, you can just do it. You can do it. Like, what were the things I was thinking? Like, don't waste this opportunity, or don't make yourself regret this, and things like that, that propelled me forward.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, those mantras I was saying, they were negative. Like, I don't want to feel, don't waste this opportunity, don't crash. Like, it was all running away from a feeling that I didn't want. And I don't know about you, but I think there's a lot of people who go through, or successful people who start off something not wanting something, and then at some point it switches to something that you do want. Was that the case for you?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it was like I'd been like I hadn't had much money for a long time. Like I was always a very low income earner. I did well out of property. It was always
Mm.
just like trying to focus on like getting out of this. Like I don't want
Mm.
that. I don't want to be poor. I don't want this and this and all the
Yeah.
rest of it. And where I saw the biggest change for me was when I was like, I want to help people and I want to build people's portfolios and I want to create this person's wealth, whether they're young or old or anywhere in between with a family, all the rest of sort of stuff. So it was when I started transitioning into I want to help these people and how can I help these people? That's when I started loving it for one, because it wasn't a grind, because it doesn't become a grind anymore when you love it.
Mm.
And it was like the deals equal smile sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like and equity release equals smile, because that was our win.
Yeah.
That was our world title or whatever, and it was
Yeah.
like those little things were what, like they would literally, sometimes I'd get phone calls and like I'd get teary because clients who
Yeah.
came to me with 50, 60, 70 grand,
Mm.
then within 6 months they're pulling out 100,000 or more from a
Yeah.
deal. And like that was my little victory. And
Yeah.
so I saw crazy growth in both the business and myself personally when that started being what I was chasing, rather than trying to evade the fear and the no
Mm.
money and all the rest of it. When I just started focusing on the win,
Yeah.
and the positive result that was going to come from it. You know what's really funny? I don't think I've ever properly reflected on that until you
Mm.
were talking about it and you posed that question to me.
Yeah.
The switch that probably flicked about 3 years ago when it turned more
Right.
into that than getting out. And I've been doing this for 7 years now.
3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was I've been investing for 16 years, but I started the business 7 years ago. It was probably 3 years ago that it really changed.
Yeah.
And it came more about helping people, and that's where everything changed
Mm.
for us as well. So that was our like positive, or my like positive shift, I think,
Yeah.
within that. And it's crazy. It's really cool that you kind of positioned it like that,
Well, I didn't believe that. Well, the whole of 2023 season, I was racing to avoid feeling disappointed in myself, or I was racing to avoid crashing because I knew that if I did my best start, I was most likely going to be in front of the girls, most likely not going to hit them, and most likely not going to crash. So most of 2023 season, I didn't really care about winning. I just cared about not crashing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that was the motivation,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
And you still won 9 out of 15
Yeah.
world titles.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying like the fear propelled me forward in
Yeah.
that way, because if I didn't have the fear, I wouldn't have kind of, pushed myself to get my handlebar in front of the girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
so I always thought that, winning, I don't care about winning, and winning is never going to be meaningful enough more than not
Not
crashing.
Yeah.
And I had always had this belief until a World Championships 10 weeks before the 10 weeks before the Olympic Games. The World Championships is 1 day of racing where if you win that race, you're the world champion of the year. And I came into it ranked number 1 and probably could have won, but I didn't. And I think it was because I didn't fear anymore. I had won all these races before, and now like that loud voice of saying you're gonna crash, it wasn't as loud
Mhm.
anymore. So then it didn't propel me as much forward as I wanted to.
Interesting.
And then I stuffed it up. I got dead last that
Oh,
race.
really? Did you have an accident or something through it, or?
No,
No.
I literally just didn't back myself, and I didn't commit enough. I didn't
Wow.
give it enough down the hill.
Mhm.
And then the girls just went past me pretty
Yeah.
much. And that made me realize, I'm like, oh, maybe I do need to run towards something rather than run away.
Yeah.
So it took me quite a while to try to figure out what that is. What am I running towards? I'm running towards a gold medal, but what does that mean to me? Why do I want it so bad?
Yep.
And it was something that I had to really think about. And like, if I'm at the top of the start hill and I know that thing is at the finish line, what is it? What is that thing that I would push past any fear, any doubt?
Yep. Yeah.
And I had to really find that.
That's cool. That's cool. And so that's where he rewired that, and he started looking more towards that positivity rather than the fear. And that's where so you're obviously still
Yes.
doing exceptionally well if you're ranked number 1 going into it,
Mm.
but then
Yes, it
got into your own
was.
head.
So yeah, just to play on the idea about, you know, running away from something. And I think that's really important. Running away is fine to
Yeah.
have that kind of motivation of not wanting something. But then I think at some point it has to switch.
Mm.
And it had to switch for me. And that World Championships was the time to switch, but I didn't. But I learned that lesson in order to switch to what I actually really wanted.
Yeah.
Which was even, my mindset coach always told me that running towards something is always stronger. Like the pull towards something you want is always stronger than, you know, running away from something that you don't want.
Yeah. That's kind of, it was playing in my mind as you were saying that before. It's almost like a survival mode. You know what I mean? Like it can work to survive.
Yes.
But to actually succeed or be victorious in it, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference in that, because it's almost like an animal response just to the survival piece. So it's funny to unpack that, hey?
Yeah.
It's crazy how much in like professional sports and an athlete, the mindset is just so bloody important. It's almost, I mean, it's not everything, but it's like, it's so important. It's such a massive piece of the arsenal of winning as well. Like you can be the great athlete and have all the talent in the world for it, but if you get in your own head, if that mental piece drops, even for one race like it did, you can go from being ranked number 1 to then coming last in the race, and figuring that out, and then being able to, you know, transition that and then go in with the confidence and knowing you're going to win, and not thinking about crashing in the flip side in that gold medal race last year in Paris. Like that's obviously the change, right? The complete difference with it.
It's also having fun with what you do. I didn't think that I could do that. But when you're having fun and you're in that state of flow, you must experience that as well. It's probably when you have the highest performance is when you're in that state.
Flow state. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
And you can't do that in survival mode.
Yeah. It's very different, hey? It's very different. I think from an athlete perspective, it is slightly different from the business, because your hone piece, like your time frame, obviously, even though it's probably more spread out. Like if you had, how many races did you have to win gold? Was it 6? 7 races, right? 6, and then the final. That's right. It's like these sporadic of like hyper focus pieces, and they're quick races too, right? Because you guys are so speedy. Like it's such a like a hit like that. It's crazy to think about. Like I'm just pondering this in my head as I'm thinking about like the you know, how hyper focused you must be for each of those. And just reflecting on the fact that you dominated and won every single one of those. It's I can only imagine the difference in like mental clarity and like you're saying, enjoying it and focusing on the victory rather than the survival piece. That's cool. I love it. I reckon it's awesome.
I wish I could go back and relive every bit. It was such an experience. It was, and I tried to document everything in terms of like what I was thinking. It was a week after. I try to remember everything that I was thinking, so I have it documented.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is my winning formula, but it doesn't work that way. But it's still an experience to learn from, and it was so cool. I mean, just the arena itself is so cool. Like purple corners, like I don't know, everything looks so cool. And they had the spider cams, you know, the spider cams.
Oh, they like swing around and stuff.
Yeah, and they like follow the racing.
Yeah,
like, this is really cool. And the lights were so bright, and it was at night as well.
Okay.
So it had a roof, but it didn't have the sides.
Okay.
And because it was at night, everything was dark, and then it felt like a stadium. And then just like the crowd, I don't know. It was cool. It was really, really cool. And that high pressure moment, like my boyfriend says, pressure is a privilege. And I had so much pressure in that moment, but you know, it's like, how cool is it that I got to feel that?
100%. Yeah. No, that's amazing. I love that. Hey, I love that. It's such a crazy story. And I think like even drilling down to the pieces of what you overcame to get there as well. And it's funny because like hindsight's a beautiful thing, and we all wish we knew what we knew when we were younger. But at the end of the day, that's what experience is, right? It's life experience. It's going through these things, these trials and these tribulations, and learning from them and growing from them as well. And it's why the older you get as in anything, whether it's in life in general, but let alone athlete, business, entrepreneur, whatever it is, the older you get, the wiser you should be getting as well, and the more intelligent decisions you should make. And even like that, like learning how to overcome things like that too. It's the same. I believe in high performance in anything, but it's figuring it out as you go. And like you're saying there, you've got to sometimes overcome those pieces of fear to push through the barrier or the ceiling of what's next, which sometimes doesn't feel like it's possible. But when you go through and you do it, and again, that's why you're Olympic gold medalist, is because you had the fear, but you still pushed through and you figured out how to do it, and you engage someone that could help you with it as well to go to that next level and overcome it and rewire your brain too. And I think one of the biggest hacks in life is coaching, and it's funny because it's not just the direct coach. You know what I mean? It's like you get the mindset coach as well as I'm sure you've got a lot of other coaches for what you do. I know you do your lifting and stuff as well. I know when you started, you were at like, I think it was 50 kegs on like a deadlift, then you got to like 120s or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like those sorts of things. Same in business, like having coaches and stuff as well. It's people forget like how important they can be to that development and growth across the board as well. So
you can't do it alone.
No.
You really can't. And it's also the ability to be like, I don't have expertise in this and I need help in this. So I'm going to go get help. You can get help, but then ultimately you're the one who has to do it. You know, I went to my mindset coach hoping, because he's also a hypnotist.
Yeah, right.
Or something. I'm not sure. And I'm like, great. He's just going to do something to my brain, and I'm going to walk out there and I'm going to be like a world champion mindset. Like the fear's going to go away. I'm going to be confident. And I walked out of there. I was like, oh, I didn't feel that much different. That's weird. But then I'd done the homework that he sent me to do, and a few sessions later, I started to be like, oh, it still doesn't work, but I guess I know what to do. Like, I guess I'm still working hard, and I'm like won a race. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's because of him or because of what I did. And it's just a mix of both. And it's also the mindset of wanting to keep improving myself. And you can't do it alone, but then also you have to be the one who does it.
You have to do the work.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's a maturity piece as well, right? Even knowing that you need to find it, and then for two, being able to, like, actually sticking to the maturity piece is knowing that you need to find it, and then it's like that dedication piece is actually following through and doing it. It's a compounding effect of everything, right? Like if you're trying to learn something, trying to learn a new language or whatever, a new skill in a sport or a business or whatever, it's all good to like, you know, try and do it in a binge episode of, oh yeah, sweet. It's like someone trying to get fit. Oh yeah, I'll go for a 15-kilometer run.
Yeah.
And then I don't do anything for a month. Well, you're not going to lose weight. You know, you're not going to get fit. You're going to stay. You're going to stay in your current state. Language, you go do a day, session or whatever. But it's the same thing. Like it's the compounding effect of everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's the exact same thing. It feels like it's the exact same thing that you're saying there from a mindset piece. Is it was also like that continual motion, and not only seeing him in the sessions, but then doing the homework as well.
Yeah.
Because so many people, they'll go do the sessions, but if you don't do the homework, it's not going to have that same compounding effect. It's like a 15-kilometer run once a month. You know what I mean? Like,
pretty much, yes.
So, no, that's cool. I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah. It's also the ability to play the long run and not give up.
Yeah.
And I think, so there was a moment in 2022, 11 months after my Tokyo crash, I had another crash, and I hit my head again, had another concussion. And up until that point, I was feeling so scared, and I was fearing every time I was on the BMX track. I was hating BMX. I was like, why am I doing this? I can't do this. I'm not good enough. And then I had that crash, and I knew what was happening next. I could see the future of going through this concussion again, not having any answers. I'm like, I don't want to do this again. And I honestly thought that in that moment that I wasn't going to be able to come back
You thought you were done.
racing. Yeah. And then after, a few months, I actually made that decision of, I'm going to quit. But I didn't. because I think there was something inside me that knew that it was wrong. I think it also stemmed a lot from how I grew up with Kai and how his approach to life in general. He's just such a hard worker. He's so dedicated, and he's never the one that gave up. And I knew probably inside that this was not the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, imagine if I had given up in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, I had every reason to give up. You know, I had 6 concussions or something, and I'm thinking about my long-term health. It was always a thing that I did with Kai, this BMX thing. So why am I doing it alone? I don't even like it. Like, I'm not that good, and I don't know why am I doing this for? And I thought of a million logical reasons to stop, but I didn't, which is I just feel so lucky that I didn't quit, because, you know, I never would have had these lessons and this gold medal. I mean, I think I'm more proud of what I've overcame to get that. I think that's with everything. You don't have a gold medal, or you don't have your trophies or awards and be like, I'm so glad I got that trophy. It's because of what it meant. It meant everything that you overcame, all the doubts that you in your head, and doing it despite of those things, the growth that you had.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're proud of.
I feel ya. It's crazy how like you almost pulled the pin in 2022 after the second like big concussion, and then the next year like you quit, and then you've come back, and then in 2023 you win the World Cup, and then 2024 you win the World Cup and the bloody and the Olympic gold. It's
crazy.
Like how many people quit at that point and don't come back? You know what I mean? Like how much talent is left there that doesn't overcome the fear and doesn't come back through. Something that was playing in my head for a second there too. 2022, was that when you met Romain as well? Like when did you guys start seeing each other? Because like I'm wondering like how much of an impact he might have had on you as well.
Oh, yeah, a huge impact. But we started dating in 2020.
Oh, 2020. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think I was thinking about this, having the courage to do BMX again. Well, having the courage to try BMX again, to try to overcome this fear. I don't know, to have him there and have him as a constant support gave me the courage to take this leap of faith. And it's like, even if I fail, even if I fall on my face, at least I have him, and he's gonna, support me, whether I'm 11th or 100th in the world or first in the world. Like it doesn't change for him. So that also gave me the courage, that kind of safety net, I guess. And I'm so grateful for him because of that.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I don't think I would have continued if I didn't have him, because, we get to travel the world together. We get to do the same circuit.
Yeah.
We do the same races. We literally almost have the same training schedule. So we spend 24/7 together. And every day is fun. It's good.
It is good?
Yeah. Every day is fun. We understand each other.
Yeah.
We have the same goals. We have the same values that we share. So if I didn't have him, if I had no one, for example, I don't think I would have had the courage to go out there and, hit this big jump, or go out there and race when I feel I'm not ready or have no confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And to put into context for listeners as well, like he also won a Olympic bronze medal at the obviously the same Olympics as well. So he's a very competent BMX racer as well. So that's a bit of a power couple in the BMX world, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's so cool. It was funny because he won that bronze. I watched his race 10 minutes before I raced mine.
Really?
Yeah, I was in the pits, and I was at the pits, and we couldn't see the track from where we were, but there was a TV screen but it was like 20, almost like 10, 15 seconds delay. So I could hear the crowd, hear the gate drop, hear everything, but then I couldn't see it.
No way.
So it was just like this weird thing. And obviously I wanted him to win, and he definitely could have.
Mm-hmm.
He made a mistake on that first jump, but I was just so stoked for him that he won bronze.
Yeah.
And his 2 other teammates teammates had won gold and silver.
It was a full French takeout, hey?
It was nuts. I'm just like, wow, this is awesome. But then I was like, yeah, okay, my turn. And it didn't even enter my head again to be like, oh, he won bronze. So, no, it was straight back into my process.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, that's cool. On that, how do you prepare for races? What do you find is the best for you?
That's a very broad question.
Why do you think that's broad?
Well, how far are we going? Are we going like training, or are we going like moments before?
I was kind of meaning moments before, but yeah, you're 100% right. Like it's the same. I said the same before. A failing preparer is preparing to fail. So you're 100% right. Let's take it back to, I guess, the training before, then the prep, and then obviously the right before.
Oh, I think we need another 3 hours of this.
Give me a high level then.
So my training is usually 5 days a week.
Okay.
Leading up to races, I'm on the track, BMX track, 3 days a week.
Okay.
In the gym twice a week. Then I'm also doing some sprints on the flat ground where I mark out 20 meters and I'm pedaling as hard as I can, basically just transferring all the power that I develop in the gym and then putting it onto the bike.
Okay.
And doing that multiple times.
So it's a 20-meter sprint on the bike.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I do that. That's my physical training. Then I guess mental training is, the visualizations, keeping myself not stressed. That's the other part as well. It's just keeping your stress levels down.
So something that I don't know if you saw, I posted on the stories this morning around that it was that you were coming in to record today, and I put it up there and I said, hey guys, send in like anything that you want to see on Saya's story, or any questions that you want to ask.
Yeah.
I would have had over 10 girls ask me, write in and request on it. How do you deal with stress and anxiety? But like stress like stress and anxiety were the two big ones that I had. There was the most dominant question from the ladies writing in.
How do I manage stress? Rom's answer would be like, there's no use stressing. It doesn't help, doesn't change anything. So just don't stress. He's just like, I just don't stress. He's that kind of person that just always lives in the present. He doesn't care about the past or the future. He just
lives in the moment.
Yes. Okay. And it's very powerful, I think. Me, I overthink. So how do I manage stress? I think it's reminding myself of what I've achieved and drawing back on evidence at what I've done and believing that it's like, I've done this cool thing, so I can probably do this cool thing. I'm stressed about it, but last time I was stressed, I still did it and it was fine. I didn't die.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, it's fine. And I think I really like this book. Oh, I forgot the name of the author, but it's called Useful Beliefs.
Okay.
Very good book, very small book.
Okay.
You can literally read it in an hour.
Really?
I think so. But it's about, I also change it to useful delusions.
All right.
So sometimes it's useful to have delusions that everything's going to work out.
Okay.
Even if you don't really know what the future holds, but just be like, I'm stressed about this. I'm stressed that I'm going to stuff up, or I'm stressed that I'm going to crash, or whatever it is. If it's in day-to-day life, it's like, I'm stressed that my boss will fire me, or whatever it is. Useful delusion. It's going to be fine. I'm going to get the thing that I want, and I'm going to walk away really happy. And you have that kind of belief or that delusion. And the other part is, boss is going to fire me. I'm going to have the worst day. I'm going to fail. Like, which state are you giving yourself the best chance?
For success.
Yeah. And it's the useful delusion. It's the delusion of, I'm going to get the thing that I want. And I think that's also a part of the stress bit.
It sounds like it's it's like kind of like a visualization. It sounds like it's kind of similar to that as well, right? Like you're kind of putting that into the equation, and it's almost like if you're visualizing the worst thing is going to happen. Law of attraction, right? Like whatever you're projecting that's going to happen, you're potentially going to kind of will it to happen as well. So it's
it works.
That's really cool. I like that. So your biggest way to deal with it is look at you're looking at past evidence as well that you're capable of dealing with something, and then you're also looking at best case scenario. Let's play for best case scenario and focus on that as an outcome and a projected outcome as well.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. It's such a easier way to live.
Yeah.
If you think that everything's going to work out the way that you want it to, it's a pretty easy life, isn't it? It's like so much less stress.
Yeah.
And I think that if you come into a race and you're stressed, like you're not giving yourself the best chance to perform that the way that you want it to.
Yeah.
The worst thing for me is walking away from a race feeling like I didn't give it my best, or I wasn't able to give it my best because I was stressed or hesitant, or I got in my own way. That's the worst feeling, and that's what I felt at the World Championships before the games. So, what am I getting at? So, in order to get that, in order for that not to happen, you need to be usefully delusional to think that you're going to win, because that's the way that you're going to put yourself in the best mindset to deliver your best. Whether if I'm thinking that and I delivered my best and I got third or last or whatever, I'm happy. It's like, well, I wasn't good enough, but I gave it my all. And I think that's what you want to do in life. You just want to give it your all.
100%. Leave nothing on the table, hey? Yeah, it's a funny thing. I think anyone that performs at an elite level, if you feel like you've left anything on the table, it's always a regret, right? Like you're like, fuck, you don't want it again.
Yeah.
It's because that stays with you, right? Like that stuff stays with you if you've left it on the table. I know
Yeah, my coach Luke, he was one of the first Olympians to race, Australian Olympians to race the first BMX Olympic Games in 2008.
Yeah.
And he's been my coach for the last 2 years. He talks about the many races that he didn't commit and how he still thinks about it 20 years later of the races that he could have won but didn't believe in himself.
Yeah.
So it's just that thing that you only regret the things that you didn't do.
I love that, hey. It's so true. It's so true as well. It's almost like you've got to go all in on everything. The way I've always lived my life as well, it's like if you're going to do something, you may as well go all in, right?
Yeah.
And you may as well go all in. And when the fear's involved, that's where it's a different thing of like, it's a management. It's like a fear management. It's like a risk management sort of side of things as well. But yeah, when you leave stuff on the table, when you leave things on the field or on the track or whatever it is, like nothing haunts you more than that. Nothing stays in your mind longer than that.
Just think about the what ifs.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I love that. It kind of sounds like from it as well is like everything you do these days and like what you've kind of changed into. And I think racing is probably also very, like the actual competition is also very different from the training side. But it's like you're setting yourself up with confidence. So you're hitting the racetrack with confidence. It sounds like that gold medal race that you annihilated, even though the first 6 you had a bit of fear and you still, you just went in with so much confidence to it and believing that you were going to do it that it almost eliminated it, and you knew how you were going to race it and it allowed you to go hard out of the gates and everything as well, and finish as far in front as you did, which was wild. There's a confidence, right, and like a belief in it. So it's been really cool to kind of unpack all that as well, because it's so different, and like a lot of the people we've had on this podcast so far too have been business owners, elite business owners. Some of these guys like multi 9 figures, which is like multi hundreds of millions of dollars net worth, which is big, but it's so like interesting unpacking the athlete side as well. And really that bulletproof mindset, which is so relevant regardless of whether you're an athlete or a business owner, entrepreneur, because like to achieve anything at super high level, you have to have that crazy resilience and like those things that hold us back, whether it's fear or incompetence or whatever it is from all different people at all different levels. We have to overcome those things. To become someone elite at anything, you have to be able to overcome those pieces, right? Whatever it is, we've all got weaknesses. And I think it's like overcoming those things is where the gold is and is where the real
Yeah.
growth is as well. And the hardest part a lot of the time is actually acknowledging it or realizing it before it's too late. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's what's really cool. Like, if you've had that rewiring of yourself at 22, 23, 24 years of age, and you're kind of going through it with the rewiring of your brain, it's cool because it's still pretty young, to like
Yeah.
still have a good few years left of that elite mentality from a racing side of things that you can dominate as well. And that's why, like, you asked me before I did this as well, like, why am I doing this podcast? And because I find it so interesting peeling back the layers of elite performers in whatever they've done
Yeah.
and seeing how they've done things. And he's like, so many people like hit me out, and I know after this we're gonna have so many people that blow us up, like how much they took away from this thing and the learnings around different things, and even like empowering different people. I'm sure those 10 plus girls that wrote in, with the question as well, they're gonna write in, with their feedback on it as well and thanking us. But I think it's really cool that, like, there's just so many different things you can take away from so many people's journeys that have achieved great things. And yeah, it's just like unpacking yours has just been really interesting of all the different things, of little setbacks and then overcoming it like this and the rewires and everything as well. And, you've gone through more than most, especially at your age and through competition, and with injuries and obviously different experiences and everything as well. So it's, yeah, I really appreciate you sharing like that kind of real raw stuff in there as well. There's been a huge amount of gold within that.
No. Oh, thanks so much. I went through so much in the last 4 years, and you could tell that I'm an overthinker. I think about everything. I'm a very analytical person. I think about the past, I think about the future, mostly about the future, and I think that's been my detriment, but also to my superpower as well. That I was, almost thought my way out of things. But then at the same time, you do have to do it in the end. You have to build up the courage to just do it in the end. That's why that's Nike's freaking logo or slogan.
It's true.
It is like in the end, you just have to take action. There's no thinking a way out of a problem. Most of the time, it's about just doing the thing, even doing it scared.
Doing it regardless,
Yeah.
Yeah. So often the gold is on the other side of fear. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, obviously in your case, literally the gold.
It was.
But in anything in life,
Yeah,
if we
it
pass
is.
on a message to people out there, it's the gold is on the other side of fear. And it's on the other side of the shit that we're too scared to do, because we
Yeah.
all have it. We all know what it is internally within ourselves. One thing I wanted to ask you, I normally finish a potty with this as well, but I'm curious because you're literally, there's the top 1% of a field, and then there's literally the top in the field, which is what you are in your sport across the whole world. What do you think? Because normally I'll ask the question, what do people think is the most defining character trait of a top 1% performer in their field? What do you think is the top 1% defining character trait in why you have won gold medal?
Mm. Defining character trait. The willingness to push past or overcome the fear, or the resilience,
Yeah.
or the ability to listen to all those thoughts. Don't do this. You're not good enough. You're going to crash. And then be like, okay, but no, I've done these things in the past and I'm going to do it anyway. I think that's fine.
Yeah. So pretty much everything we've spoken about this whole piece here, it's funny, hey, because it all boils down to the fact of the most defining character trait in yourself is overcoming, because like you had the ability, right?
Yeah.
So you had the ability, obviously you've trained the technical side of things and the ability from an athletic ability, you've trained on all those pieces.
Yeah.
But that one piece that unlocked for you was the resilience and the willingness to overcome.
I don't think I'm at the games. I don't think I was the most skillful. I don't think I was the most powerful. I don't think, I'm sure there was other racers who are those things, but I think I was able to be in that moment and take that opportunity as it is and just take it. You need that bit of that selfishness or that grunt or whatever you want to call it to go get the thing.
The dog in you, right?
Yeah.
Getting after it.
Yeah.
Going for a bite and not letting it go.
Yeah. Yeah. You just, yeah. I fear everyone. It affects everyone. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many, it's really cool that you're having these conversations with, you know, top business owners, and there's so much out there now with, you know, hours and hours of people talking about how they've overcome something. And it's always there's always something that they had to overcome, which is mostly fear to get to where they are, whatever success that meant to them. So it's in everyone. And I think I guess my message is you got to push past it. You got to get through it somehow. And whatever that means to you, it's so important.
Yeah. I love that. I've got a couple final questions for you that I want to ask you as well before we wrap up. You're very open about mental health as well, like on your socials and everything, which a lot of people love to put out an exterior of being bulletproof. But we can see obviously with you today, you're very raw and real about the experiences, and that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, you know. How important do you think it is to you, like giving that awareness? Like why are you so open with it, you know, in trying to help people with a mental health perspective and staying strong, and it's okay to speak out and all that sort of stuff as well? Like why are you so open about it? If just curious.
I'm open about it because firstly, there's not many people who talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open about it because it's been such a huge part of my journey. The overthinking and, you know, being in the depths of your lows and thinking that, you know, you're going to quit everything. You know, I think everyone goes through hard things.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a human race, everyone has similar experiences. And I think it's so important just to share mine, that other people can feel like, oh, even Saya goes through something like this. Even a gold medalist is still scared of the wind. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm scared of the wind too. Or I'm scared of doing a presentation at work. I don't want to speak in front of people. I'm scared. But yeah, I think it's just important to share stories.
Yeah, 100%. The resilience piece that you've built up in a solo sport as well, like how, I mean, I was going to say like in terms of like, how do you think you've cultivated it? But it seems like you've built it through all these different experiences you've kind of come with, and you had Kai, obviously his accident and everything as well was obviously such a big piece for you too. And then obviously Rom as well is such a key part of your sort of circle there as well. And then the mindset coach and everything too. Is there anything outside of that from a resilience piece of a solo sport? Because a lot of people like solo sport is such a different, I think, level of almost like resilience internally. Because when you're playing a team sport, so I grew up playing soccer, I played at a decent level, and soccer, you're in team sport. You got a team around you and you thrive off them succeeding and they thrive off you succeeding. And it's like, it's that team environment, right? But the solo sport is so different. You think there's anything outside of what we've probably spoken about today that has been key in success in a solo sport?
Well, even if it's a solo sport, you have your team around you.
True. That's true.
So, you know, it's having my mindset coach, having Rom, having my coach that we're on the same page.
Yep.
You know, even the mechanic, I don't even have to think about my bike. He knows what the setting that I want or whatever it is.
Yep.
I can just trust, and just having a good team around you who believe in you and have the same goal as you is, yeah, I couldn't have done it without them. There's no turning up to an Olympic Games me with a backpack. Like it's a whole team that we've been planning for years.
Yep.
To get me in the best shape possible, get me in the best mindset possible.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To win.
So it's still a team, even though it's just you on the track, you still look at it very much like the whole team's obviously part of everything too. And it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah. Well, you get when someone wins the Grand Slam in tennis, they always first thank the team.
Yeah.
You know, it's everything.
Yeah.
We get myself. The athlete gets all the glory, but there's so much work and effort that everyone invests in my journey.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, there's no doing it alone.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, I love it. Last question for you. If there was one piece of advice you could pass on to the next generation of athletes or just anyone that's looking to do hard shit, even all the girls that wrote in questions for you as well, if there's one piece of advice that you would that you could pass on to that next generation, what would it be?
Don't give up. Don't quit, because you, all you have to do is change a few things and success could have been literally right around the corner. It's like, imagine if you were a higher power and you're watching yourself down and you knew what was going to happen next. Imagine watching yourself give up, knowing that there was what you wanted literally
Just around the corner.
just around the corner. You'll beat yourself up. So I think don't give up, don't quit. If you need to change something, but don't quit on dream.
Yep. I love it. Saya, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you in here. What's next?
What's next? I am off to France soon to start the season of 2025. There's the World Championships, which is one day of racing that I want to become a world champion, which I haven't done yet. And I'm also writing a book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'm in the process of writing a book.
Okay.
And that should come out in November.
Awesome. Congratulations.
So, thank you. So keep your eye out on that.
100%.
Yeah, that's about it.
Sweet. Awesome. Something on that, actually, sorry, this is one final thing that popped into my mind as well. From like a goal setting perspective and like doing, things like that, whereas the book or it's like, what do you do from a goal setting perspective?
Well, I still haven't won that World Championships. So that's definitely my next goal.
Yeah.
But I think I was never really driven by winning. I was driven by putting 100% effort in my training and then getting growth out of it and seeing the progress. So having the goal really helps me do that. But I get a lot of pleasure in the day-to-day, the week-to-week of coming home from a training that I know that I gave it everything. I'm tired and I'm ready to rest to go hard again the next day. I love that feeling. So it's having that goal, but then also enjoying the process as well.
Yeah. That's good. So you're enjoying both, obviously the journey and then the destination at the end. That's cool.
Sometimes it's always about the journey.
Yeah.
It's a cliche for a reason.
It's true.
And it is about the journey. It's what I had overcome, the growth that I've seen over the last three years, whatever. I'm so proud of that. More than winning anything.
The growth.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, hey? It makes so much sense when you think about it, but the victory almost is so fleeting. Like, you know what I mean? Like that I'm sure that adrenaline rush would have been so fleeting. And I know you had so much press and everything that came after it, but the growth that you would have experienced from 22, 3 through to, from 24, 25 now as well. It's as many medals as you win, right? Like it's that growth that you go through and the betterment that you feel within yourself, and even being able to reflect on it as well. Have these chats like this and then know what that process has been that got you to that stage too. Like that must feel very empowering to have gone through.
Totally. Oh, I read something in the book, Arnold Schwarzenegger's new book called Be Useful, and he talks about, imagine if you got a helicopter and was dropped off at the top of Mount Everest. Would you be happy to see that view, or would it? So it probably wouldn't have. Seeing that view would be not as beautiful as if you were to do the climb.
Yeah, it would be nowhere near. Yeah, because
I really butchered that, but everyone can understand. Don't take the helicopter. It's about the journey. It's not about the view. It's about the journey.
Yeah. Don't take the shortcut. Take the proper journey that gets you there and enjoy it on the way through.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Saya, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I bloody loved today's episode, and I hope you did too. If you did, please make sure you send it on to someone else who you also think could bloody love this episode and take some great value from this episode as well. If you're not following us yet, make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform. It helps us get other high-quality guests like Saya that we can get in here and have great conversations and pass on all the great value to you guys and share wonderful stories, crazy stories like this. And if you haven't left us a 5-star review yet and you're loving the potty, please make sure you jump on there, you leave us a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform. And until next week, guys, that's me signing off for another Top 1% podcast.